Hi everyone, welcome back. This is going to be a long one, so let's jump right into it. Here in this Revit, I have a link with simply exterior walls and interior walls separating a building into different rooms. This is an attempt to mimic a hotel. Please bear with me my poor design. That's not the focus of this video. Well, in the links we have different rooms, and in this model, I've modeled three type of rooms. There's the single bed room, there's the double bedroom, and there's another smaller single bedroom. So in the link, we have different type of rooms, and in my model, I have modeled the interiors for the three room types. Now, usually we're not going to just place everything inside these rooms in the early stage of the design. What we're going to do is we're going to create a reference card. And we're going to be referring to that room like this. Once we create that card, we can click it and bring me to this room. But we have to do this on all these rooms, and so essentially the workflow will be manually look for and pick from this long list the king room and draw this again. Or I can do the copy and drag it somewhere over here and reshape it. It's repetitive and the circle will be inconsistent between the different levels, floor plans and ceiling plans. It's not very efficient. So let's look at the workflows enabled by Dynamo. I'm going to start by introducing this Annotation Tag. So we're looking at this floor plans and we have the different rooms and we place them on a sheet. We need to tell that for this room, it's going to look for this one over here on the floor plan. So introducing this Annotation Tag. It's a generic annotation. Has two parameters, sheet number and detail number. King room will be sheet number A101 and detail number 1. So look like that. And we're going to use this as the way to place the reference card. The script goes like that. I select that annotation, confirm the link, and I'm going to hit run. It's going to get that link and find all the king room in that link. And if it's on this view, it's going to create this tag, top of the rooms, and essentially change the color so that you know it's generated by script. The same will go to level 2, and we can continue this process. Do the same. The single rooms is detail number 5. So detail number 5. And select and run. Wow, it's really the same color. Let's try it again. So select and run. I built in a group of colors and to color code them so that you can know that they are different. But still, it's a limit pool of colors. So in that case, it's just really very indifferentiated. But now these are different colors. You know this is the second run, and you can visually see all of these. on the both floors. Finally, let's do the coin room. Over here, it's number 3, and select Run. This time is yellow and differentiable on both levels. So good. Now I'm going to go here and copy everything. Go to the ceiling plan and paste it to current view. Well, once pasting, get rid of the color, but that's fine. We know that on the floor plan, ceiling plans is detail number 2, 4, and 6. Is one detail away from the 1, 3, 5. So I can go here and use the script to collect everything in the current view and increase the detail number to 2, 6, and 4. Say they used to be 1, 5, 3. Now they are 2, 6, 4. Do the same on level 2, select all, copy, come over here, align to same, replace, and increase that by 1. 2, 6, 4. Good. Now that we have everything settled, in total, we have 127 generic annotations. Come to step 3. Confirm the link and run. It's going to collect all these tags and it's going to use that data to create these callout reference. And if I double click, that's correct, that's correct, that's correct. So they all generated. They also delete that annotations. So now we have all of these. And finally, in this case, if the room is not like square shape enough, I can do this, select the reference card and update it to match the shape of the room. Do that on the floor plans and on the ceiling plans. So there we have all of them nice and cleanly set up. So the key API equations that we used: create reference card, takes the current document, takes the parent view, which is the overall floor plan. The view to reference is the specific room floor plans and ceiling plans. Takes 2 points to create this, and you can get the reference card, you can get the crop shape manager, and you can set the crop shape using the boundary of the rooms. So these are the 4 key equations in this workflow to create the reference card and to reshape the card boundary if necessary. It's kind of clean, but mostly I want to talk about is why I have to separate this into 4 separate scripts and what are the things to look out for in doing this. So let's close everything and redo this again. In the first step, I create this annotation and place it here, and as a user I specify what sheet and what detail to look out for this room. This is a human defined relationship. I have to place that view on the sheet so that I can use the sheet and detail number to get to that view. If it's not on the sheet, this is not helpful. But this method is better than picking from a list of views. This is more visually friendly. I don't have to choose from a list of views. All I have to do is drag it onto a sheet and read the detail number. So it goes to here, assign reference view tag to a room. And what the script does is find a room with the same name and place the tag on the target rooms on the target views. So again, let's demonstrate this one more time. Wait for it. So in some cases where there can be multiple links, script built the way that I can change this to false and run it. It's not going to do anything, but it's going to read out the number of links and their names. So maybe this is the target link, and maybe there are more links. I can change it to number 1, number 2, other number of links. But in this case, there's only one, so number 1. Change this to true to run it so that it actually creates things. See the steps that it created and then it color coded. On the other hand, notice here there is the only include floor plan, and there's a parameter called view folder. So it is important to specify how many views that I want to make it to look like that, because perhaps I only want to do it on level 1. I don't want to do it on level 2. So I have level 2 and I put it into a different view folder. Now there's only the views on level 1. I do the same. Instead of previously 11 tags, now it's going to create 6. So nothing will happen on level 2. It's another level of control that we need in order for this to properly function. I can delete everything and redo this. Now there's 2 views in this view folder. It's going to generate a total of 11 tags. And then there is the second step. Collect all tags on active view, read the tag detail number, and in tag increase the detail number by X. So I click everything and visible in view, copy, come to ceiling plan. Again in here, it only include floor plan. So even though the ceiling plans in that folder is not going to do anything to those ceiling plans, paste it over here and increase it by 1. Click that, it changed to 2. And I stopped over here because sometimes, say I'm doing this on the stair rooms, right? The stair rooms will be A102, that's detail number 3, A102, 3. So select that and run. So I'm going to generate that over there. I can copy this, come to ceiling plan, paste it over here, just like I did that time. Increase all by 1, But in fact, I don't need the ceiling plan for the staircases. So even though I copy paste it over here, I should stop and think, do I need the ceiling plans? In this case, I don't. I should delete the ceiling plans for the staircases, like that. And maybe I don't even need it on level 2 because that's the staircase. 1 is enough. I should, after created it, review it, and think about it. I don't really need it. Delete it. Right? Also, these 2 stairs is actually different. I have stair A and stair B. So it's actually, even though it's generated, I should review it and see that I really don't need this to be detail number 3. It should actually be detail number 4. So I can manually change that in here. And after I reviewed everything, actually, let's confirm that. Number 3, number 4. So yeah, that's correct. So let's stop there to visually look at things and confirm things, and then jump to step 3 to actually create the card. Step 3 goes like that. It collects all the tags. This time it's collect all the tags in any of those views. It's not looking for specific view folders. Find the room with the tag, and it's using the room boundary and tag data to create a reference card to reference the correct view and create that reference card on those views. And eventually it's going to delete the tag. So it goes like that. And consider the case where I place accidentally something outside the boundary of the room, or I create something inside the boundary of the rooms, but it is referenced something that doesn't exist. In both cases, those are wrong data, and the script should be able to detect that. And see it create those reference cards for the stairs, but in this case, that's an invalid card. In this case, it's a valid card. It's not inside any rooms. It's not going to delete the tags. So you can see that. You can visually see that there's something wrong with these. It didn't run, and you should look into it. Instead of deleting every tag, it's keeping it there for you to visually check and see what happened with it. And finally, the last step would be to select the reference card, find the room with the card, and update the boundary to match the room boundary. In here, this one is useful. You should select that and run. But I shouldn't run that on every room because sometimes the rooms are just not. See that this one's slightly slanted. If I use that, put it over here, select that, and run. It's going to create this tiny slanted card, which really don't need to exist. You really like that is looking fine. The same way goes to this one. If I put it over here and run, it's going to follow the boundary of the room, create that weird like bend. Really don't need that, right? And this is very too close. Let's do it again with 2-inch offset. Like looks like that. You really don't need. You should really go just like that. It's fine. Again, it's a visual check. This one's useful in this case, and this one's not useful. So you need to pick the ones that you want to update instead of updating everything. That's why this is a 4 script workflow that in different rounds, you get the opportunity to check. And there are other things to look out for as well. First, we have a link, if the position is origin to origin or otherwise. Because, we can link this model here, and we can actually move it for whatever reason. Maybe we want to align into existing grid, maybe we want to do something else. Once we move things, you still need to recognize the correct position of things. Well, that's one thing to look out for, and the same goes for levels. Now I run the script to find the king rooms on level 1 and on level 2. Well, inside the link, and if it is on level 2, I'm going to create the annotation tag in here on this view, level 2 view. How do I know that they are on the same level? Well, you can go here and attempt to compare the name of the levels, but there could be inconsistent names, like capitals, or level 1 with zeros, or level 1 with underscores and dashes, or so on and so forth. So it's not so obvious to just matching the levels, even though, and it's also not so obvious to match the elevations. Maybe like level 1 as 0 zeros, all the links is using basement as 0 zeros. So even though comparing elevations also not so safe, simply put. So what I'm actually doing is I'm actually placing the tag over here, and I'm reading the links for all the rooms and the geometry of that room. So the geometry of this room will be a cube that goes from the floor to the ceiling. I'm collecting the point of this tag and see if these two things intersect with each other. If this point is inside the room, then that's correct. Using that way, I kind of ignore the potential difference in terms of levels or height. But in that case, when it comes to rooms, we know that there are other things to look out for. There are unplaced rooms, there are overlapping rooms, there are not enclosed rooms, or rooms with similar names. So there are different ways to essentially mess things up. I can come here and create a room, and that's not enclosed. I can still call this like king room, and the script will detect that, but this is a not enclosed room. It has no form. Even though it is placed here, it's going to ignore by the script. But it might come to a case where we actually use it. Say if this room is over here in the link, and even though it's not enclosed, when we do it in manual, I can easily know that there's probably something wrong with the wall, making the room not closed, but this is the correct shape of the rooms that we're going to use. So there are differentiations and variables. And also, if we look at the floor plans, there are other ways. The room doesn't show up on the floor plan or ceiling plan. The different host levels, the room height. Now the room goes all the way to the ceiling, but when the ceiling is only 6 feet in some of the rooms, whereas my floor plan, the ceiling is like 6 feet, then if I place a annotation tags, I still need to know that it is inside the room, even though it's not technically 6 feet. This tag will read 7 feet above level 1. Need to figure out whether that's still inside the rooms, or maybe even there are rooms outside of the scope box. That's the most tricky one that I find out. For example, in here, if I uncheck Annotation Crop, notice that there is another callout created. Why is that? Because inside the link, there is some separate rooms that are not supposed to be there. They're here for, say, housekeeping reasons or reference reasons, but they are having the correct room names. So the script will detect that and will generate the call. In fact, in the actual script that I'm going to run, every view I created is going to deliberately uncheck the annotation crop so that it actually previously is like this. If I run the script, I have to deliberately uncheck annotation crop so that those things may show up and you will know that and you will go ahead and delete it because it's wrong information. I mean, creating annotation is okay, but if we're going to create actual model element, we want to know that if we just create something outside the boundary of the building, just accidentally. And then there's other ways, the rooms in different phases, different design options, different work set even, and the rooms from other links may be overlapping with our rooms, and maybe they have the same names, maybe they have different names. All the kind of reasons where the room in the link is not a reliable source. It is kind of a reliable source, but there are cases where it might went wrong. You need to know those things and look out for that. And then there's the inside the model, the annotations. I've demonstrated that if I put the annotation outside the room, it's not going to work. You need to look out for that. You put it inside the room and it's referencing something that doesn't exist. You need to differentiate that. And even maybe it is looking for something that exists in the room, but this is say a 3D view or a section view that it cannot create a reference card in the floor plan. You need to look out for those kind of errors again. And there are still the matching rooms. So the same room name to multiple reference views, or the room boundary is not ideal, or other changes. For example, even though every king rooms is created, there are cases where I have, say, a different design. So even though in the link everything is called king rooms, here I may want to, instead of navigating to this floor plan, navigating to that floor plan. So ideally, when you place the tag, you should check that I want this to be 88 room. So even though the script generated to be a 101 number 1, I want to manually change it to a 102 number 1 because this one will be an 88 compliant room. Therefore, it's going to navigate to a different offset where this room is going to navigate to this one. So all of this is trying to say that we can always do things manually, or we can do them using script. When using script, it is important to create gaps in these workflows to provide opportunities for human intervene. And there are cases like overlapping rooms, not enclosed rooms, or the wrong positions, or the different room faces, room names, different ways of naming the levels. or the link positions, there are things we should look out for in order to make the script more efficient. And still, as humans to practice the script on this model, these are the things to look out for, so that you know what to expect when things didn't go correctly, and you know how to change that. Only by knowing these kind of system errors can we be able to fully utilize the benefit of script and be much more efficient than doing it manually. In the past, I've done this where it create the chairs based on the positions of desks inside the links. Well, this is a script and it suffers from all the same problems listed in here. So maybe we're talking about a script that works perfectly fine, but notice that there are a lot of things to look out for. There are this kind of system errors to be prepared and to essentially to prepare to look, be careful and prepare to fix when it jumps into your model. Yeah, this is the reference code views, and this is the first steps to do that I find is most convenient, and it provide enough human intervenes and provide enough efficiencies. That's all. Thank you. Until next time.